This solution is going to present.
Okay, so good morning, everyone. I'm very happy to be here at this beautiful pavilion. And let's talk about a very important topic for this COP and for whole humanity, which is, of course, climate finance. So we need climate finance to solve the climate challenge and to attain UN Sustainable Development Goals. And climate finance is really the growing market, but we need more of it because we're unfortunately falling behind on the climate targets. And this is already the 5th COP for me, and I've been around for a while, talking to many representatives of developing countries, banks and projects and NGOs, and what they all say is listed here. Sustainable finance should change the world, make it a better place. But currently it faces 3 major problems. So first, it's really complicated to structure a sustainable finance instrument, whether it's a green bond or a carbon credit, because you have to hire special people, consultants, and they don't teach you at school how to do it, right? Then it's really costly to issue a green bond or a carbon credit or any other sustainable finance instrument because you have to hire a lot of consultants, intermediaries, arrangers, banks, and many others that you need to pay them a lot. And this doesn't make sustainable finance really accessible for SMEs. And finally, sustainable finance is really hard to trace. It's hard to trace its impact on climate, on sustainable development goals, and from there, the greenwashing problem comes. And this is relevant not only for SMEs, but also for investors, because investors also greenwash. And we need to solve this somehow. So for these 5 years, during these 5 years, we've been doing a lot to solve these issues. And we've been doing this a lot with many of you who are today here in this beautiful pavilion and who've been supporting us, and we've been doing a lot of joint projects, and also some of you are watching this live. And I'm happy today to tell you that we solved this problem, these 3 problems, and you're gonna see it just now. But before we start our product presentation, I want to invite to say a few words a special person, my co-founder Liza Romanova, who has been supporting me all the way, and together with her we've been doing these amazing innovations for more than 10 years. Please, Liza.
Hello everyone, thank you, Alexei. We have been working with Alexei since 2011, and we developed a climate project, forest restoration initiatives, educational innovation for school children, and all these years we have been doing our best to understand motivation, needs, challenges of our partners. And I just want to say how I'm proud of our team, and good luck with this launch. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so what you're gonna see now during our live demo is a digital solution that covers the whole life cycle of sustainable finance, all the way from structuring to issuance and monitoring and reporting. So we automate this process, make it really accessible for SMEs by the integration of blockchain and monitoring tools like sensors, drones, and satellites. So this is the main principle, and also we integrate global standards and taxonomies. And right now, I'm switching to the demo. Okay, so let's imagine that a solar power project, solar power developer from India wants to use our platform to be more visible for investors and raise sustainable finance. So the first thing he does is he describes his project and fulfills all sorts of information around the project, basic information, but also including the exact project territory and boundary. There is a special app for that, and you will see why this is needed. And also SDGs and the roadmap of the project. Then, of course, he needs to upload some documents that are essential: business plan, financial model. He can tune the access to these documents to everybody or to investors, specific requests. And then we offer an opportunity for the project to actually expose its impact data. So a project chooses indicators, impact indicators, based on the ICMA database. And then he needs to describe how this will be monitored, what will be used to monitor the impact, what methodology, how frequently it will be monitored, and who will check, what auditor will check this data. And in the next step, we have this beautiful map that helps to identify climate risks. And by clicking on the map, a project can browse through various filters and climate risks that would reveal those risks for this particular project territory. For example, sea level rise. And we see that by 2050, there is a high chance that the project will be below the water level. So those risks will be indicated in the project description and will be accessible to investors. And the project is published on the main page where all the projects are, and we continue working with this project. Now we need to make sure that this project is green enough. It's a solar energy project, but maybe there is something wrong with it. So we have an opportunity to screen this project against the EU taxonomy, which is the most important global green taxonomy right now. And what he needs to do is just to fulfill, the basic info, the financial info around the company, and then screen particular project activities and the business by the EU taxonomy activities. So we need to choose electric generation, add this activity, and then screen the assets that we want to check whether they're green or not. We're describing these assets, a power plant, and we're choosing the substantial contribution of this asset, and also checking the doing no significant harm to the environment. So we can see that this is aligned, and by finalizing this check, we see the overall result for the company and for the asset. We see what activities are aligned, what activities are eligible. We see all the statistics, and this works not only for the particular project or asset, but also for the whole portfolio. But now we're using our blockchain wallet, and this is the only thing that the project needs to do with the blockchain: just get the wallet, the digital signature, and use the signature to send the report, the taxonomy report, to verification to auditor. And this is the auditor's view. So the auditor sees that he needs to verify some report, and checks the report, and then approves the report with his blockchain signature. So it's that easy. And after these two signatures, the report is being submitted to the public blockchain and can be seen, traced by anyone, and the data there is immutable. So once we've screened the project, we will ensure that it's green enough. Now we can issue a sustainable finance instrument, a carbon credit or a green bond. So let's see how we can issue a green bond. Here we start the process all over again, but now we're fulfilling the bond information. We divide it into 5 important steps. So here, just the basic info about the bond. And then a very important part of the bond, the framework creation. Usually this part takes a lot of money and a lot of time. You have to hire a high-level consultant to create a green framework that describes all properties of the bond, including the reporting, how the proceeds will be managed, and many other things. So we are giving an opportunity to answer a set of simple questions about the business, about the project, about the bond, and then create this framework automatically. So there are 7 steps, and once all the questions are answered and all the 7 steps are fulfilled, the framework is being created, and the project can download it in a Word format. So here is this framework that actually takes a lot of time and and money to create. This is the real automation and democratization. Here we can send the framework to blockchain to ensure its immutability and transparency. We will not do it now. Of course, we need to add some documents about the bond as well. And here we see the project that we are trying to finance with our bond. It's built here automatically. And we can add more projects, for example, because one bond and one framework can be used to finance a lot of bonds. And here is a very important page. So here we integrate the open source sustainable finance protocol that we've developed with support of the Climate Change Coalition and the Web3 Foundation and their grant support as well. So this protocol helps to structure and program the bonds, green bonds or sustainability-linked bonds, where the interest rate is connected to the real-life impact measurement from the project side. So this is the interface that helps to interact with the high-tech blockchain protocol, which is available online, and anyone can build interfaces on top of it, and we encourage you to do so. So here we fill in basic information about the bond and the interest rate, and we see the interest rate visualized on a graph. But if we enable the floating rate parameters, then we will have a lot more to add regarding the corridor of the interest rate fluctuation and many other things, and the impact baselines. So we would see a more complicated picture of the interest rate, where there is a fixed interest rate, and then there is a floating interest rate, and there is a corridor of the interest rate fluctuation, and also the impact forecast that will be used to recalculate the interest rate. So with blockchain, we create a golden source of truth for every bond stakeholder, and everyone sees what is the interest rate at the current moment and what impact data was used and who verified this impact data. So with this, we're sure what is the interest rate and how it will be done. So now we're issuing the bond, and it appears in a special debt category of the platform. So it's already here, and this is how an investor sees the bond, but this is a table view, and this was a card view, so many investors would prefer the table view. And now, by clicking on this bond, we see all of this details. We can invest in the bond, we can download the framework. We also have the various details, and here we see the overview of the framework. So we don't have to read this whole big document. We can read an overview which is integrated with the Luxembourg Stock Exchange requirement. So everything around the bond. Then we can also look at the documents of the bond as an investor and see what projects are financed with this particular bond and look at this particular project. Also, there is the reporting tab with all the reports. And this is how Initier, our solar power producer, will fulfill its future report. So we integrate the framework with the future report, and the issuer will not have to have a headache and think how he would do the reporting. So the reporting is done in a semi-automatic mode, and an issuer gets a reminder that he needs to report. So he sees his framework, the green bonds that are issued through this framework, and also the projects that were financed using this bond. And at some point, he might add more and more projects to his framework and to his bond. This is how it will look like. So it is that simple, and we've seen a lot of stuff in just a few minutes. And we hope that the issuers will also use it in the simple and smooth way without paying a lot to intermediaries and consultants. So here we see the live platform, and you're encouraged to access app.evercity.io to see the projects that are currently already on the platform. So we can search through various SDGs, look at various projects. We have a range of projects from Indonesia, from Switzerland, from India, and also from Siberia. You can also see at each project card whether the project is raising or not, what is the investment vehicle that is used to raise finance, and what is the project category. So we also have debt right now, and there is a credit linked note which is raising through the platform. And also we have the commodities section, which is featuring carbon credits. And here, for example, if you look at the project, you can see the price of the carbon credits, you can see the status, the expected volume, and the standard. If you click on the project, you can see a lot more data. You can be the first buyer and reserve your slot to buy the carbon credits that will be issued. You can look at the project design documentation and all the other things and request more data to communicate directly with the project. So, yeah. So with this, I'm happy to end the presentation, and I encourage you to go to app.evercity.io and check the projects and upload your project and use those beautiful features and the beautiful map that we have, and play around with all those risks and geohazards and the data that can be visualized on this map. So with this, I'm very thankful to all of you. It's a great honor, and it's the best pavilion of COP here. And let's save the world together. Let's make it a better place together. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexei. Alexei, what you have done a research a couple of years. Explain me in maybe one sentence or two. What's the biggest innovation that you are solving or providing through this platform that is previously an unsolved problem? Can you make this very precise?
Sure. So there are a bunch of high-tech innovations that we combined, and I think the main innovation here is our approach, that we combine all the necessary part of the sustainable finance journey on a single platform, because that was impossible before. And to structure, issue, and monitor and report on a green bond, for example, you would have to use a lot of partners, agents, consultants, various platforms, solutions. So that was really inaccessible for small holders, for small farmers. And now you have this all together in a simplified and a streamlined way with all the hints and the support that you can get.
Okay, thank you. And Evercity is a foundation, an NGO, a company based in Berlin. Can you also specify? Maybe it's interesting before we go to questions in the audience that might come up.
Evercity is a for-profit company headquartered in Berlin, but with offices and representations also in Luxembourg and Singapore.
Okay, thank you. Are there questions to Alexei in the room about this kind of innovative way, providing a more democratized, easier way to access finance for projects that are positive for climate action? Are there any questions here? No? Yeah? Please.
Well, given the fact that whenever someone needs to raise financing, for example, they want to raise financing for 5 years at this interest rate, with this frequency of coupon payments, etc., usually it's a process of negotiation with investors, right? Investors might push back. They would say, we would only provide financing for 3 years, at a higher coupon, etc. So on this platform, do you just present to investors the terms that you want to see, or is there also a way to negotiate with investors to come to the terms which suit both sides?
Thank you. It's a great question. And I can tell you that we've been looking at this whole life cycle, and of course the negotiation part is very important, but we are still at our early stage. We're now raising our seed round, and we're going to include this part in the future versions and releases of our platform. Thanks for the question.
Masamba, also a question? Please.
Just one quick question. We know that if you have small project, the transaction cost for, let's say, when you are looking for low cost of finance are very high. You need to have a big project or number of projects. Can this type of platform play the role of aggregator, where a lot of small projects can be aggregated together for the issuance of a bond?
Absolutely. So first of all, we've compared the platform with conventional process, and we can say that it's 10 times cheaper to issue instruments through the platform. But I think Masamba touched a very important point, because big investors with whom we are collaborating, big banks, they can invest only in big volumes. And our platform and platforms like that can serve as an aggregator of smaller projects, manage the smaller projects, check and monitor their impact and their risks, and then create a bigger parcel, an aggregated set of projects, like hundreds of projects that will be financed with a securitized green bonds by one of the big banks or development institutions. And we've been discussing this with one of the European banks, and hopefully we can do something like that next year within our big project with ASEAN Secretariat, where many of the stakeholders and partners who are here will also hopefully take part. And we invite all of you to test these solutions and approaches together next year.
Thank you very much. Our guests, our virtual guests are back. One last question, 30 seconds answer, please, because I want to wrap up on time.
Hi, thank you. I'm Juan Duran from Colombia. I wanted to ask you a follow-up questions on what Masamba asked. And for example, when the platform works as an aggregator, so would that mean that the platform would be in charge of developing the reports that you need to deliver to the financing institutions, and it will be like the front to these financial institutions, or will be each project the front? Will need to develop all this documentation?
Thank you. Great question. So the platform acts like a bridge between institutional investors and smaller projects. So depending on the bond framework that investor is using, specific data points will be requested from the project. But the data is being aggregated at a smaller project level, and then is being sent, to the platform. The platform refines this data according to the selected framework and taxonomy, and then it gives the specific refined data to investor to report or to make managerial decisions.